Hello everyone, welcome to this video on the Matt's channel. I'm your host, Matt, or Matty, whatever you want to call me. And here we're going to do another World Cup predictions, this time match day 3 of Asia. Let's get right into it. So, first game got South Korea versus Syria. I'm not sure if Son is fit. But I mean, that will make a difference to how good they are. But South Korea will still be the favourites up against a Syria team which the good up front. Defensively, there could be question marks, but I fancy them to finish pretty high in the overall standings. But looking at this game, South Korea, I think Son might be available. And defensively, South Korea are usually stable. I think Syria can give this a good go, but I'm going to go with South Korea 2, Syria 0. And up next, we go to Iraq versus Lebanon. Iraq, I think, are good. Lebanon, Iraq are good by their standards, by Asian standards too. Similar to Syria, where they've got good threat up front, but question marks at the back. And they won't take confidence from the 3-0 loss against Iran either. Lebanon are surely the weakest team in the group, and pretty much fancy a win for Iran. So I'm going to say 3-1. I think that Iraq will have a good front line, but I think Lebanon won't be too out of the woods for this game. I think they can put some sort of fight. And now the UAE versus Iran. Iran, I'd say they are the favourites. Going away to the UAE will be difficult, and they'll make it a good game. I fancy a 2-1 victory for Iran. So no matter when you're watching, do comment your predictions, see how they compare with mine. And I think I'd be interested to see your predictions. For Group A, I'd say Iran and South Korea will go through. And I even put them down to be both unbeaten going through. That may be a bit of a bold old claim, but I think they can do it. And now let's go to Group B. Saudi Arabia versus Japan. This is the standout game. I think given Japan have been a bit wobbly, Saudi Arabia have certainly stepped up with Hervé Renard as the coach, and they've got the home advantage. I think they've got the better chance of winning. Although I do think that loss to Oman was a one for Japan, was a one on off. It should be a good game. I think Japan, whether it's now or later, will get back to their best. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Japan will make it hard, but Saudi Arabia will provide a lot of creativity, and I don't think they'll be so open like they used to be. So I've got a 1-1 draw here, and these are two of the favourites. Certainly Japan and Saudi Arabia, second or third. Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty close game. Up next, we've got China versus Vietnam. Vietnam, they haven't got off to an ideal start, although they were against Saudi Arabia and Australia, two of the stronger teams. And they did also top a competitive group in the round beforehand, which included themselves, the UAE, Malaysia, Thailand, and then perhaps not so competitively Indonesia, who last time I remember they'd only got 1 point, but the rest, it was a tight affair. So how they're going to fare up in this group, especially now they're going to play some easier opponents, is going to be interesting. China, they've 2 losses already, but you'd imagine this would be a must-win for either of these teams. I think China do have a stronger squad, so I'm going to give them the win. It might be closer than what I'm suggesting, but I'm going to give China a 2-0 victory. And finally, we got Australia versus Oman. Oman have exceeded expectations as things have been standing. Got a shock win in a way at Japan, even though they did play a 4-5-1. And from what I heard, they could have got a draw against Saudi Arabia. Now they go away to Australia. I think they'll make it difficult. But I do think Australia are still the stronger team. They've got off to a good start, even though it was against the lesser opponents. I fancy them to be at least third or better, probably not first, but even so, I do think they'll be up there. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Australia. So these are my predictions. What do you think? And what games are you most looking forward to? But I mean, there's one game for me, and that's the Saudi Arabia versus Japan game. I think, yeah, I pretty much said my piece. These are my predictions. What do you think? And in the meantime, the road to 2022 continues.